Is this thing on? Hello? Testing, 1, 2, 3. Hey guys, it's Justine. Taking a sip out of my groomsman cup here. As you can tell, I am not in my normal studio situation. I'm actually in a secret lab. I'm not, I'm actually in my sister's basement. Before we get into talking about WWDC stuff, I need to show you my setup that I have made in her basement. I've got the orange iMac here. I went to Best Buy, picked up some key lights. I've got a capture card in the back, and this Nomad mouse pad is incredible. It is some Bubble Guppies action, if I've ever seen any. We've got our Sony all set up, ready to record. We've got our OWC Thunderbolt drive. We've got our Duo charger. And I basically recreated my entire studio setup here at not my home. WWDC is happening very, 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 very soon. You might actually be watching this and WWDC has already happened, but this is a predictions video. I'm gonna be talking about some of the rumors that I'm seeing online, and just reading these, I'm getting so excited. WWDC is something that we all look forward to every year, and the past 2 years, it has been all digital. And all of these companies have been trying to make these digital experiences as good as, or if not better, than in-person events, and Apple has done such a great job of that. The keynotes that they've been doing for all of their past events over the past year and a half have been incredible. So I'm looking forward to another fun-filled WWDC. Let's dive into some of these rumors. I just cannot wait. So this article is from Mac Rumors. This is what to expect at WWDC 2021, iOS 15, macOS 12, watchOS 8, and question mark, a new MacBook Pro? So this is saying that Apple is working on a new 14 and 16-inch MacBook Pro that we could perhaps see at the launch of WWDC. Do you see this? Do you see this? Now last year at WWDC, or was that the year before? Oh my goodness. It feels like forever ago when they announced the Mac Pro. That would had to have been 2 years ago, because I've had the Mac Pro Tower for over a year. It is really hard to say because this is a developers conference, so this is really talking about the software, but you do need the hardware to run the software, so being able to announce this hardware ahead of time to get these developers thinking about the software that they're going to be creating to make full use of this stuff is definitely very important. Some other more reliable sources have pointed that the launch could happen the second half of the year. It would make sense that this would be later in the year since we did just see a launch of the new iMacs and the new M1 MacBook Pros. I guess that was a few months ago, so really anything's possible. Other analysts have said that Apple Silicon Macs could debut at WWDC, but they've also said that a redesigned MacBook Pro models will be shipping to customers until late 2021. The new MacBook Pro models will feature the most radical redesign to the MacBook Pro lineup since 2016. They're going to reintroduce the MagSafe port. Emoji praying hands or emoji high five, whatever you guys call it. I loved the MagSafe charger. It's so great. And the fact that they kind of sort of hinted at that and brought a MagSafe charger to the new iMacs. It's very, very possible. It will include an HDMI port and an SD card reader in addition to a trio of Thunderbolt USB-C ports. At this point, I don't even use an SD card anymore. I use a CF Express card, so definitely missed the SD card reader over the past. When did they stop the SD card readers? Do you remember the SD?
It feels like an eternity.
It does.
5 years.
It feels like an eternity. That was Jenna's answer, and it does feel like an eternity. And since then, we've moved on. CF Express all the way. I just don't feel like Apple's gonna bring back an SD card.
No.
I don't think so. I think this, if they do, I don't wanna say I'll eat an SD card, but like, I will. My dog ate one, so he's still here, so it's fine. It says there will be no touch bar. They'll be returning to a traditional function of keys, and there'll also be a redesigned thermal system. Okay, so MacBooks, will we see them? Maybe, there may be mention, but I do think that this is something that's gonna be released later in the year. If it comes earlier, I'm here for it. I still feel like we are kind of having some supply and demand issues when it comes to specific types of chips, so that also could hinder a lot of things this year. Apple Silicon updates, this is what we want to hear. At WWDC, we could possibly hear about the next generation. I definitely do feel like they're going to make some mention of whatever this next new chip is, which would then probably lead into another few events by the end of this year. It says that Apple is working on a 10-core chip for the MacBook Pro models, 8 high performance cores and 2 energy efficient cores, along with 16 or 32 core GPU options and support for up to 64 gigs of RAM. This is very, very important because I've been using the M1 iMac and my M1 MacBook Pro. While they have been running incredible, there have been some issues that I've had with Photoshop, specifically with really large photo files. Now, I don't necessarily think it's a RAM issue. I do think it is a Intel M1 kind of conversion issue, but the fact that we are limited right now to 16 gigs of RAM on these devices, for me, the stuff that I'm doing, I do think that I require a little bit more, but I am very impressed and surprised how well these have been running, considering these are the lower end devices. And of course, I am working in pretty much mostly an Apple ecosystem, with the exception of, Illustrator and Photoshop. I know a lot of my friends who have been editing in Premiere on the M1s have said that Final Cut obviously still runs so much smoother because it is developed for this M1 environment. So I definitely look forward to some updates from Adobe to see how they're handling this and when we can expect full M1 compatibility. Higher end chips are also on the way. Of course, the Mac Pro has been rumored to get an update, a smaller version of the Mac Pro. It's also interesting because they announced the Mac Pro, talked about how incredible it is because it's modular, you can install all of these things, and then I don't think we really saw any other things to put in it, unless there were some things that I'm missing. I feel like that would have been a third-party thing. My computer has been running perfectly fine and I haven't actually needed to upgrade it or search for it, but these new higher end chips are definitely on the horizon. Options for 20 to 40 computing cores made up of 16 or 32 high performance cores and 4 or 8 high efficiency cores. And these upgraded chips are also expected to include 64 or 128 core GPUs, and that would be the top of the line. These graphic chips would be several times faster than the graphics module Apple uses from NVIDIA and AMD. Now, it was only a year ago that Apple announced these M1 chips, and it was great because it was at a time where they needed to get these developers ready and prepared to start developing for this platform. So time will tell. What will WWDC have for us this year? Obviously, iOS and iPadOS are a huge part of WWDC, and we're on iOS and iPadOS 15. It's really crazy to think how far the iPad and the iPhone have come over the years. It says that there have been several years where early versions of iOS leaked, giving us a very clear picture of what to expect. But so far this year, I haven't seen any leaks, and clearly they haven't seen any either. So they've heard very little about both, but oh, don't worry, we've got a few hints of what to expect. Some notification updates. iPhone and iPad users will be able to get a notification set based on their status. So this is actually kind of cool. It feels like it'd be like sort of an away message type thing. I also like how Instagram, not many people use it, but if you have the Threads app, you're able to set kind of like a status. So that could be kind of interesting. Like, it says that users will be able to select from categories like driving, working, sleeping. I think I'm probably gonna speak for myself when my status will be set to sleeping quite a lot. There's going to be new settings for automatic replies. Menu options for selecting a mode will be available on the lock screen in the control center. Oh, iMessage changes. This is what I'm excited about. I use iMessage so much. I mean, I use it for basically everything, like sending files to myself. If I'm not using Telegram to send things to my Android phone, I'm using iMessage. And it says that Apple is updating iMessage to better compete with other messaging apps like WhatsApp, but what new features we can expect remains unknown. Oh, the suspense, the suspense. It says last year there was evidence that Apple was testing features like retracting sent messages, group chat typing indicators. Oh gosh. Can you imagine a group chat typing indicator? Also talking about the option of marking messages unread. Privacy enhancements, always important. Food tracking. This is kind of cool. I do feel like though, Apple tried to do the Period app and for whatever reason, like I don't know why. Like, it's never accurate.
It is the worst thing I've ever used.
It's really bad. I don't understand. So I went back to using my previous Period app.
Terrible, says Jenny user.
Terrible, says Jenna. Food tracking is interesting. There was a time where I was very, very strict about tracking my food, but then it drove me kind of crazy. It is very, very helpful to kind of really get a sense of what you're actually eating in a day and how many calories. And I was mostly tracking it just to make sure I was getting enough protein intake. So definitely interested to see how that works out. I mostly used MyFitnessPal, which was actually quite simple, but I do feel like there are a lot of updates that it could use to make it a little bit more intuitive and better. And obviously with iOS 14, we're gonna have interface updates. We've seen some minor interface changes in screenshots of accessibility features coming in iOS 15. They did announce kind of like a little pre-announcement of some accessibility features, which was really, really cool. They were talking about the Apple Watch, allowing it to do kind of gesture control to be able to actually control the Apple Watch. So it says that they're working on several new accessibility features, including background sounds. So it'll be an option that will allow iPhone users to play various soothing sounds like ocean, rain, or white noise. Assistive touch, that's what I was talking about on the Apple Watch. Apple is working on iPad eye tracking, more inclusive Memoji, hearing aid improvements, and more. macOS 12. So they've been kind of on this California landmark theme. So we had, this was started actually in 2013. So they've had Maverick, Yosemite, El Capitan, Sierra, High Sierra, Mojave, Catalina, and Big Sur. What do we think it's gonna be next? Jen, do you have any ideas? A California landmark. We're gonna get back to you. So I'm very excited to see what the new macOS update is gonna be, but man, Big Sur, I really love it. Normally, when it comes to these types of OS updates, I wait a very long time. Like I will wait maybe 7-8 months. I hardly waited a month, and I wish that I would have waited a little bit longer because some of the plugins and things that I needed, like even the hard drive and my storage and backup systems, like nothing worked for months. I still refused to revert back because I love Big Sur so much. So they did a really great job with that. Oh, wait. So there's no word yet what macOS 12 is going to be called, but Apple has trademarked Mammoth, Monterey, and Skyline. Monterey. I like Monterey. Mammoth. We've never been to Mammoth.
San Tahoe? That's in Nevada, but also California.
macOS Tahoe. macOS Mammoth. Oh, that's nice. macOS Monterey. What's Skyline? I love Carmel. It's one of my favorite places. Feels like there's not many rumors about watchOS 8, but I have been loving my Apple Watch, of course. I'm honestly such a huge Apple Watch fan. It will be interesting to see what kind of update they do because the blood oxygen level and the EKGs was such a huge thing in the past few versions. Like what else is there? There's been a big rumor though that HomeOS is going to be a thing. So they're going to kind of take tvOS and sort of the Home app and sort of merge those all together. They mistakenly referenced HomeOS in an operating system in a job listing. Like basically, hey, hello, HomeOS, it makes sense. Like if you think about it, like homes are kind of running off of an operating system at this point. Like we are connecting everything to our Wi-Fi, our lights, our ovens, like just everything in our home is becoming more connected. So the fact that they're gonna kind of do this Home OS could be a sign of, I don't know, maybe they're gonna release something for Home OS. Like a router, maybe? I don't know. So the next iPad Pro to feature both wireless charging and reverse wireless charging capabilities. This is cool. But really, the only thing that I want is a freaking fingerprint sensor in the iPhone and the iPad. Like you guys teased us with the iPad Air on the power button and then that was it. It's like, cool, I hope you enjoyed that. We're not gonna do anything else. We released an iPhone, we released the iPad Pro. Nope, never to be seen again. You did it once, let's do that again. It says Apple is also working on a new iPad mini for launch later this year that'll have thinner bezels around the display and they will do away with the home button. Yeah, okay, you're gonna do away with the home button, but can we please, right here, do it. Do it. New AirPods Pro with fitness tracking expected in 2022. I love the sound of the AirPods Pro. There is just something about those first basic version of the AirPods that I love so much. They fit in my ear perfect. They sound good enough. Like they're not the best sounding, especially after you put the AirPods Pro in, but like I love them. They work great. So I hope that they do an update to those as well. They just fit so much better in my ears than any headphones I've ever used. But fitness tracking in the AirPods, that could be kind of cool for people who don't have an Apple Watch. It says the earbuds will apparently come with a new case and feature shorter stems, broadly mirroring the design of the AirPods Pro. So the iPhone 13, that is going to be a thing later this year. It's really crazy how we have this just cycle of tech that just continually keeps refreshing, and the iPhone is no exception. iPhone 13 Pro models are rumored to feature a 120 Hz display, so larger batteries would help with that higher refresh rate. So rumors suggest that Apple will unveil 4 iPhones in 2021 with camera improvements, faster chips, a smaller notch, and perhaps under display Touch ID. Just put it on the freaking power button. Like, I don't understand. I mean, I guess I'm not creating the phone, so I'm sure there's reasons why they haven't done it, but I feel like the power button is such a perfect placement. Some of the rumored features is 4 sizes, similar to the iPhone 12 lineup, a smaller notch, 120 Hz Pro Motion display, camera improvements, A15 chip, 5G, fall 2021 launch. This is kind of something that is interesting, is this little mock-up right here. It's showing that the camera lenses may be diagonal. Not quite clear what the benefit would be, that's thick. It looks the same. I think somebody just photoshopped and made that larger. Yeah, look at that. That camera bump is massive. Smaller notch. The thing is, will this be the year that Apple removes all of the ports? Do you want to plug your phone in? Too bad. Hard to say. This is saying that the portless design is not expected. No USB-C. I've already given up on them doing USB-C on the iPhone, so I don't even like wish for it anymore. Here's a leaked dummy model from Unbox Therapy. 5G chip, Wi-Fi 6E, larger batteries, 1 terabyte maximum storage. The thing is, once you get like the largest size iPhone and you fill that up, like where do you go from there? You have to only go up. So it would make sense that they're gonna have a 1 terabyte storage option at some point. Of course, we're gonna have camera improvements. Of course, we're gonna have LiDAR improvements. Basically, everything that the previous phones have had, they're just gonna make them a little bit better. I know. Some foldable phone options. I don't think Apple's gonna be doing a foldable phone anytime soon. They will do it when it's like actually ready and foolproof. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm looking forward to this fun week of WWDC announcements. If there's any other rumors that you think that we all should know about, leave them in the comments below. Also, let me know what you're looking forward to. Is there anything that you've read that you're like, this is the thing that I hope that they announce? I'll be posting a bunch of videos this week, so don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you'll be notified when I post a new video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!